David, first I'd like to congratulate you for being inducted as a distinguished engineer at Texas Tech College of Engineering. And it's certainly a great honor, and one you certainly well deserved. And first, I'd like to start out by noting that your wife was inducted before you, and you're the first to be husband and wife inducted into distinguished engineers at Texas Tech College of Engineering. And tell us about, you kind of met at an early age. This is not something you just met her yesterday, exactly.
That's right. Well, first of all, thank you. It is definitely an honor, and I appreciate being part of this group. It means a lot to me. But yeah, my wife and I met when we were actually in high school. She was 15 and I was 16. We both grew up in Lubbock and started dating way back then, and went all the way through and got married while we were actually in college as our undergrads. Yeah, it's been a very cool ride.
Well, I'm surprised her dad let you do that. I mean, I know I told my daughter that there's no way she could get married till she actually got her degree in college. But her dad actually had a little bit of influence on you. You told me.
That's right. Yeah, her dad was a pretty cool man, and he actually was the one that told me that he thought I would be a good engineer and I should check out petroleum engineering, because that was kind of something in his family that he had seen and had some oil business, and so as a young man, he said, "Why don't you go check out the engineering department?" So I did, and graduated with my undergrad in petroleum engineering.
Yeah, one of those real stable industries you get into, right?
That's right. That lasted for about 3 years, and I got laid off a couple of times, and it was right at one of those low parts in the market where it was a challenge to keep your job, and
Yeah,
we found out that it is a little challenging.
right. So you decided to come back to Tech then.
That's right. So my wife Victoria was actually getting her master's in civil engineering at the time when I got laid off the second time. We'd actually just bought a house in Lubbock when I got laid off, so it worked out perfectly that we had a house and could be two graduate students. So I came back and started my master's program, and we were there together in the department all the way through our PhDs when we graduated. So.
Yeah, so it was really a long time ago, because Rainwater was 40 years old then, right?
That's right. Ken Rainwater was the chair of my dissertation committee, and I remember him having his 40th birthday party sometime right in the middle of all that. So yeah.
Wow. So,
Crazy.
and you actually had your son was born while we're at Tech, or going back to school at Tech?
That's right. Yeah, he was born in '95 when we were about to graduate with our masters, actually, and so he was up there with us. We had our office up there, and when I was in class, Victoria would keep him, and when she was in class, I would keep him. And the professors used to always make fun of us because they'd tell us that our son was up there more than most of the freshmen during those times. So, and then they also had a pyramid, basically, of all the pictures of all the professors that were in the department, and part of that was when they were looking for a chair of the department, and so the picture was empty. So one of the people that had one of Christian's pictures went and put his picture up there. So there was a time for about a month or so that he was the top of the pyramid in the civil engineering department.
Well, maybe you can talk him to come back and get his PhD and be in the chair of civil engineering.
I would like that very much.
Yeah. So you have great timing at Spears. I mean, you get perfect timing for have a child, perfect time to get a petroleum engineering degree. So
Absolutely.
Went into water resources. Obviously, a great industry to get into, something that's obviously pretty important here in West Texas. And I believe you were in Austin. So tell us a little bit about that experience.
Well, first of all, when we graduated with our PhDs, Victoria told me that she didn't want to move to Houston, didn't want to move to Dallas, and didn't want to leave Texas. So we're two PhDs in civil engineering going to find jobs, and we moved to Austin. So that's how we ended up in Austin, because she wanted to stay in Texas. Right. So moved to Austin, and I just happened to go to work for a man named Dr. Espy, Bill Espy, and he was one of the pioneers of water resources in Texas. And so it just was a perfect opportunity for me to have the ability to to see, learn from a master basically in the water resources section. And so it was really a good time to be in the water business in Texas and have a mentor like that. So it was really, really good for me to learn from him. So that was nice.
Right. So tell us a little bit about some of your projects you worked on, especially the one you were telling me about in Houston.
So we've done a lot of planning for Texas. We've worked on many of the areas in Texas, some of the regions, and help basically the population of Texas was doubling in the next 50 years. So we've been planning for water and where we're going to be able to provide all that water for many, many years. And so we've been working on many of those regions across Texas to help Texans keep their water and make sure that we can continue to develop as we need to. One of the bigger projects that we had was also in the Houston area, and it was and it still is the largest indirect reuse permit in the state, and that's roughly about 600 MGD. So it's basically all of the water that the city uses, they have the ability to reuse it again before returning it to the environment. So it's really just another huge supply of water that's being used in a smart way. And so we helped the city develop those studies and those applications and permits.
What was that volume again? 600 what?
600 million gallons a day.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
600 million gallons.
Significant amount of water.
Yeah, a significant amount of water.
Of course, they're not using it all right now, but that's the future for planning it. So.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we'll need water. It's a very valuable resource that we take for granted.
Absolutely. And that's what's been so fun about my career is that I love that. I love planning for it. I know it's so important, and I'm just one of those nerdy engineers that loves the water side.
Well, you mentioned before going back, the great value you felt that tech offered, which is one of the reasons you came back to get your master's and PhD in civil engineering.
Right.
And your son and daughter are also going to school here, right?
That's right. So my son actually just graduated with his master's in civil and started a job in Dallas. And my daughter is currently a senior in the nutrition department in human sciences and is applying for med schools right now. So we're in the middle of that. So yeah, all of Victoria, my money has been going to Texas Tech for a while now, which is beautiful because as I told you earlier, some of the students that we hire come from Texas Tech, and I'm very partial because of the work ethic and the down homeness of the people that come from the program at Texas Tech. Just as really good for us in the industry to have some of those type of people. So we're very proud to hire Red Raiders as much as we can.
Yeah, you mentioned that you've had them both intern and work for you. I mean, tell us about what you think of, your experience of having these Texas Tech engineers work for you.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, they're very practical. A lot of other universities teach to things that may not be as practical, and so a lot of times we find that the Texas Tech grads can hit the ground running and have such a smaller intake of things that they need to learn, and that they can use the skill sets that they're taught in school to a much better and easier way than some of the other programs that we hire from. So every single time I get to hire a tech grad, it makes me know that we're getting a really well-rounded product.
Well, coming back to you for a moment, you were telling me that your parents were a huge influence in your life and your success that you've had in life.
That's right. Yeah, my mom and dad, were in Lubbock. I was born in Lubbock, and from an early age, my dad was taking me to do painting jobs that he had, and he just taught me to work hard, and things will always work out the way that they should. So he taught me that work ethic that I've had for a long time. And my mom the same way. My mom actually got her master's from Texas Tech in the education department when I was probably about my son's age. I was probably 5 or 7 when she went back to get her master's degree. So yeah,
Really?
we're a Lubbock family, and they definitely taught me how to be a self-sustaining person.
So your mother was a teacher here in Lubbock.
That's right. She was. Yeah.
Where did she teach?
She taught at several schools in Lubbock, and then the last school she taught in Lubbock was in Roosevelt, and then they moved down to the Austin area. So
Okay, interesting.
yeah, so she taught at Roosevelt.
So you guys now have moved from Austin up to Granite Shoals?
That's right. Yeah, we live on Lake LBJ, and we work out of the house, and it's a pretty nice place to be working from these
That
days.
is a good place to have an office.
Yes,
I would vote for that any day.
absolutely.
David, thank you so much. It's really been an enjoyable interview, and congratulations again. And
Thank you.
if there's anybody you would like to acknowledge, please do so.
Sure. Obviously, the staff at Tech was amazing going through grad school. Dr. Ramsey, Dr. Urban, obviously Dr. Rainwater. He was the chair of my dissertation, and so all those guys were just very positive, and just was really amazing time in my life to have those kind of mentors.
Mhm.
And then obviously my family. My mom and dad, my stepmom. My kids, now that they're here and about to be out on their own, and I couldn't have done any of that without Victoria. So, she's been my rock forever, and she's awesome.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. David, congratulations again, and guns up.
Thank you. Guns up. Thank you.